Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today we're going to be talking about the recently released Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Nintendo Switch, a remake of the Game Boy Advance game. It's 20 years old, which is absolutely nuts to think about. And I'm here to give my thoughts on this game. So I did play the original, I still own the original, and I loved it. And so when this was first announced, and it turns out it was a remake of it, I was like, I'm all for it. I really like what this game is and what this game does, and I'm here and happy to say that, you know what, for this small fun little puzzle game, I think this is definitely worth a pickup. But we're going to go over those reasons why. So one of the big well, I suppose the big obvious thing is this is a game from the Game Boy Advance to the Nintendo Switch. There is a big jump in graphics. And I will say the graphics have a very, they obviously are very clean, and it's very easy to see what's going on screen, and it makes, when you go back and look at the gameplay and visuals of the original, you're like, oh, it's a little bit blurry. It's got a very unique style, but I think it hasn't aged particularly well. Whereas this has a very clean style, and it's got that typical kind of Nintendo UI. There's a lot of elements here that you've seen in other Nintendo games. And Mario's model, and like just it has that sort of generic Mario look to it. That's not to say it's bad at any means. It's just it's not stylized. It's just Mario, DK, the enemies. But to be honest, for what this game is, which is a puzzle platformer, it works really well. It's very easy to see what the obstacles are. There's nothing on screen that you're going to get confused about. I mean, this game does revolve around color, but those colors are usually blue. It's blue, red, yellow. It could be green, but I'm pretty sure it's yellow. Somebody's colorblind, but that's what the game revolves around. Those elements, and ultimately the look of the game with this like fresh new look. It does look decent, and I can't complain about it. I think it holds. This game will hold up really well in the future for what it is, and it is a fun, bright, colorful game with your somewhat bog standard Nintendo kind of like areas for the worlds, and some not so much. But that is one of the big things you'll notice, is there's this massive glow up in visuals for this game. On top of that, there are other new elements to this game that I think add to this experience. You now have a 2-player co-op mode, which I think, you know, it's offline only, so you're like, never. You kind of want it online and offline. But what that does is it lets you and another player have a whole new challenge working together. It basically changes the level where there's an extra key. You have to get 2 keys instead of 1. And from what I've seen, I haven't played it myself, from what I've seen it looks really fun. I do need to try it, but it's there for those people that want to play it with a younger sibling maybe, or 2 people just want to have a laugh. Perfect kind of co-op experience. On top of that, you have a new casual mode, which I think this is probably where a lot of people might end up using this, because classic mode is you have it's a one-hit KO kind of thing, so you can only take 1 shot, apart from some very specific circumstances. You take 1 shot, you have a time limit. In casual mode, you now I think you can get hit up to 5 times. There's no time limit, which I think is the huge thing. And you also have checkpoints in the level where you can hit them, and if you get hit, you get sent back to them. So it's kind of cool that they've done this this easier mode for people, because the game doesn't get particularly difficult until much like to the end of the first sort of 8 worlds, and then that's when it sort of picks up. For those who don't know, this game has 2 new worlds as well, so that's obviously huge. 2 brand new worlds. It used to be 6 worlds, and then 6 worlds for the second playthrough, and then the expert levels. Now it's 8, and then more on the expert levels. So the way the game works is you now have these 2 extra worlds slotted in at certain points. Each world has 6 normal levels, a mini Mario level, and then a DK boss fight. And then in the second, the what they call the World 1 plus, World 2 plus. In your second set of levels, you only have, you lose the mini Mario level. The levels come a little bit shorter, but you still have 6 and a boss. And the gameplay slightly changes as well. But that's what's really cool about this game. You have your first set of puzzles, and you have the second set of puzzles, and then you have the expert levels, which I haven't really dabbled with too much, but they're there. And then on top of that, you also have time attack, which I think is also a new addition to the game. So you have to try and beat the time limits and things like that. So there's actually a lot of content in this game, a lot of challenges and things like that to overcome and play and really dive into. So there's a lot there for someone to play. And you can do all that in 2-player as well, so that's really cool. So that's pretty much the package, right? So it is these first 8 worlds, the second set of 8 worlds, and these expert levels. And if you... I've seen a bit of a debate online. Like, I know in America this is $50. In the UK it's $39.99, so £40. I bought it for £35 on launch day. I got that from Amazon. And I think people saying, you know, is this game worth the price tag? I definitely think it is. I am biased because of nostalgia. But considering what you actually get in this package, 2 new worlds, an extra mode being time attack, a 2-player mode, a new casual mode to help people through the game, I think that's enough, and new visuals, and new music as well. I mean, let's talk about the music quickly. I didn't realize, I only found out recently they got the same people back to do the music that did the original. I'm not sure. I think I don't think they're a Japanese company that did the music. I think it's an American or Western, we'll say, because I'm not sure where they're from. I want to go and look into it, but basically the music's had this interesting glow up. Some of the tracks have been expanded. So obviously the Game Boy Advance chip is very much chiptune. This is like full on orchestrated and brass bands and all that sort of stuff. So some of the old music that I absolutely loved, I get to hear again here with these brand new renditions of it. And all these tracks have been extended, more instruments, stuff like that, more clarity. The music is really cool. I will say in some aspects it's a little bit too chill. It doesn't have quite the same oomph like the original did, but it is still cool to hear a lot of these tracks again in this new take on them. And it's really interesting to see what they've added in. Like the menu music when you're picking levels is like this dun 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 like kind of tune. And they expanded on it, they've added more instruments, there's like an extra melody lead there now, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. You know, music has a massive impact on my gameplay. Like, if you've watched my videos before, you know this. And I really appreciate that they've gone back and gone, hey, actually, we're going to do more with them. We're going to expand on these tracks. Now we get to rework on them. So all of that combined, all the music, all of the extra content that you get in this game, I think this game's very much worth it. In the UK, if you can pick this up for £40 or less, I mean, awesome. I think that's absolutely good value for money. I don't know if in America $50 is considered good for that, but I do think the asking price for this is significantly fine. I know money's a weird one because everyone has their own personal, like, what they're willing to spend on what. But as a Mario, and especially this game, which is a Mario vs. DK game, which is more puzzle, there's a lot of thought process and stuff in it. Like, I think this game's great. Load times on it, like, if you get stuck on a level, you mess up, like, hitting retry, it drops you straight back in the level, pretty much, like, a couple of seconds, and bam, off you go again. On the controls as well. Controls hold up for the most part. They're not perfect. I've had some issues with it, but for the most part, the controls feel tight. Mario's very flippy-dippy in this game. Like, he has a standard jump, and then you can do, like, a handstand, which can be turned into a triple jump. You've got a backflip. You can pick up items. You can walk on your hands, which will protect you from objects. Like, he's actually got a fairly decent kit in this, and what's also good about this game is once you kind of figure out the nuances, there are shortcuts littered all over the levels. If you're not going for 100% on a level, which involves you picking up the key and getting the presents to get the gold star, if you're not doing that and you want to just figure out the quickest way through the levels, that's what time attack's great for. It teaches you, like, hey, there are shortcuts to be had. There are, especially that triple jump, you can get some significantly more height with the triple jump than you can with the regular jump. And if you've got something you can bounce off of and time it, you can get to places and skip certain puzzles and things, and I really appreciate that. That's very clever level design. The first level alone lets you do that. Like, if you don't need to get the presents, you can just basically hop up and get the mini Mario. I should explain, if you've never played this game before, this is how it works. You have 2 screens. The first puzzle is get the key to the door. When you open the door, you get to the second screen, which is get the mini Mario toy. So that's world 1 to 8, pretty much most of the levels. Then you have World 1 Plus to World 8 Plus, and that changes. They become single screen puzzles where you pick up a mini Mario who has a key, and that's what you do. And those levels are like, they're slightly shorter the second time around, but they're usually trickier puzzles and revolve around you having to escort a mini Mario with you. So, and then you have the expert levels, which are really tough puzzles that require a lot of stopping and thinking. Like, you can probably get the key to the goal, but how do you get all the presents at the same time? So there's a lot there, you know. I think this is a wonderful package. This is exactly the sort of game that I personally was looking for, where sometimes not a lot of games are sticking, but this is a nice pick up and player. Pick up, play a world, so do the 6 levels, the mini Mario level, the boss, or whatever it is, put it down and just enjoy it for what it is. You know, enjoy figuring out those puzzles. Enjoy having that, you know, using my brain essentially to be like, how do I do this? How do I perfect this level? And then I've got the, like I said, the time attack stuff where I'm like, oh, awesome, I can go back and do the time attack stuff, which, again, you don't have to worry about the going for the gold stars. You're like, yep, I'm just going to zip to the end, and that's kind of fun. This is the sort of game I would love to watch a speedrun on. It's potentially the sort of game that I would personally do a speedrun on, because I'm like, you know what, I think that'd be kind of fun. I genuinely do, like, trying to zip through these levels and do them quickly. So, overall, if you like Mario games and you like puzzle platformers, this is a really good pickup. It's not the longest game. It's not got, you know, maybe all the bells and whistles of other Mario games. But what it does very well, and that is short form puzzles. Obviously on the Game Boy Advance it was just designed to be played on the go. So there is that kind of like, ooh, this does feel a little bit like of a small game, which it is. But I do think with everything added, the co-op, the casual mode, the new music, the new graphics, you know, all that sort of stuff, time attack as well, it is worth it. And if you're into puzzle platformers and you like Mario, worth it, 100%. So, yeah, there you go. There's my thoughts on Mario versus Donkey Kong. It's a nice simple package. There's not a huge amount to say. I would say, like, maybe just go watch a couple of levels. The demo, there's a demo. Go play the demo. See what you think of the demo. That lets you play three or four levels from the first world. You'll know if you like it, if you like the demo. So, but that is going to do it for me today then, guys. Thank you very much for watching, as always. If you liked the video, hit like. If you want to see more content like this, then hit subscribe. Links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below in the description as always. And until next video, I will see you then.